I quit my job for anything, and recently I just quit a really good job. They were paying me good money too, but they had me so f***ed up. Man, f*** y'all. I am probably the best job quitter you will ever f***ing meet. I do not play when it comes to these jobs. I don't care if that job's paying me $30 an hour. If you piss me off, I'm gone. So I used to work at a very popular soda company, a very popular, big, when I say big corporation. Probably one of the biggest in the world, right? Y'all probably know what it is. My job specifically was to sit there and stock the shelves. I was a merchandiser. I would have to use my own.
Hold on, real quick, brother. Stop all that cussing. You cussing too much. You messing up my monetization. Motherfucker.
Drive to different stores and stock the shelves with whatever they had in the back. I would have to stock pallets on pallets. It was like 10 fucking pallets, and I would have to do it within that day. And I would have multiple stores a day. I would have to start at 4 a.m. Sometimes I even get home till like 8 p.m. 4 to 8. Are you fucking kidding me? That's no way to fucking live, bitch. So bam, technically I was still in training. I was only there for 3 fucking months. So I don't really give a fuck, bitch. Y'all hoes didn't need me for real. Y'all didn't need me. So I told you I had to go to multiple stores, right? I told y'all that. Bam, all these fucking stores, they would complain on me. They were saying I wasn't doing my job. They were saying, oh yeah, he doesn't do it right. Oh, he was mean to the customer. He said he didn't work here. Like, what the fuck? I don't. Okay, bam. Customers will come up and ask you questions. I don't work for you bitches. I work for this company. I don't know. Do you know where the jalapenos are? On the jalapeno aisle. I don't fucking know, bitch. Go ask somebody who works here. And they'd be like, oh, maybe you should try to help them look. Why the fuck would I help? Are you paying me? No, you're fucking not. So get the fuck out of my face. So bam, one day I was in training. Mind you, I was in training this whole fucking time. I was not by myself at all. So the guy I was training with told me to stock the coolers. If you don't know what the coolers is, you ever go to Walmart, in the front by the self-checkout and all the checkout places, there's some coolers with the drinks in there. Bam, that's what I had to stock up. He said, bam, let's get out of here faster. Go ahead and just stock the coolers and we can get up out of here. I said, bet. So I went to go stock the coolers by myself. It was so many coolers, y'all, but it just wasn't enough soda. So I stocked what I could and I went home. Mind you, the guy who I was training with, he looked at them and said they were fine and we left. As I was leaving, I said, let me get something to eat. So I went to Cookout, got me some food, and I was munching down on some quesadillas. I get a fucking phone call from my manager. Apparently my manager was following me and looking at like the work I was doing. Like he was just like, every store I went to, he would just look at my work. He gonna say, yeah, Sid, we've been getting a lot of complaints about you. We've had numerous conversations with you, this, that, and third. So you need to come back here now. That's what he said now. First of all, bitch, I will fuck you up. Okay, sometimes my mouth does get me in trouble. I tend to overreact a lot. But, you know, when he said now, I quickly asked him really fast, who are you talking to? Because who the fuck were you talking to? He was like, I'm talking to you. And I didn't say this. I said, in my head, I'm like, no, the fuck you're not. He said, go back to that store you were just at and finish restocking it. I said, okay. So what I did was I acted like I was going back to the store and I drove all the way back to the warehouse and some white bitches were sitting there. I said, I didn't give a fuck about you hoes. I said, hi. And they was like, hey, how can we help you? I said, yeah, I would like to give this to you. It was like a phone. They gave me like a work phone. I said, yeah, I would like to give this to you. She was like, oh yeah, what for? I told her, I said, yeah, I fucking quit. Bitch. She's like, oh, yeah, bitch. Oh. Then I went the fuck home and now I'm unemployed. So.
Yeah, that motherfucker fucking regrets his fucking job. He got me cussing, man. You need to, I'm not gonna put you in no more of my videos, you little bastard. Okay, but guess what? This lady regrets it. She regrets becoming a stay-at-home mom. Let's listen to her story.
I quit my job and today I'm having regret. Let's talk about it. Currently on a hot mom walk because I need to clear my head. My house was just infuriating me. Found myself complaining so much this morning, just being super ungrateful, so I needed to just clear my head and get out. I currently work as a PA in the urgent care. My last day is May 28th and I made 6 figures. There's a couple of reasons why I quit. One, because my job was just not fulfilling. Healthcare is not what it used to be. It was draining me, it was burning me out. And the way that the company was running things, I just didn't want to stand by and be part of that. Number 2, I wanted to be home more. Maybe a stay-at-home mom, but just have the flexibility and freedom to be a present mom, because a lot of times I was gone from over 13-14 hours a day. I'm trying to stay open for something that is maybe per diem or part-time. However, the market in Southern California is super saturated. Also, currently all the boys are under my health insurance, so by the end of the month we are not going to have health insurance. I'm only 1 week into this whole like staying at home, although technically I'm not unemployed just yet. I have a lot of days off in May, and this stay-at-home training mom thing is getting real because I have more days at home. I'm feeling worthless. I'm feeling like I don't know what my purpose is. I was super excited to post a whole lot more on TikTok, and I feel like I've been trying to pump out content. I just don't know what the right content is because I just post what I think I want to see. I just post my normal everyday life, like no crazy edits or anything like that. Maybe I need to up my Prozac, who knows. I'm just like a realist. Like, am I going to be able to keep this up? Like, how am I going to financially contribute? If it's not financially contribute, then I feel obligated to be at home taking care of all the chores all the time. And like, is that really what I want to do? I don't know. I feel a little lost. So hopefully I find some clarity. Hopefully I find my wheelhouse and what makes me happy. I know that being a mom is my #1 priority, but also like taking care of myself is a priority. Taking care of the house is a priority. I do enjoy making content, and hopefully today is just an off day and I feel motivated to share with you all again, and I hope you all enjoy what I post. Here's to hoping to at least have a month of being a stay-at-home mom so I can enjoy my time with my kiddos. All right, bye guys.
For all the bitches who were internally thinking to themselves, why did you quit your job? You're so fucking stupid. Like, why did you do that? Like, what is wrong with this bitch? She's always doing this. And then here this cycle goes again. You were right. You were right this one time. This one fucking time, you were right. One fucking time, and I'm gonna give it to you this one fucking time. I'm so depressed, bitch. Like, I literally, like, I don't have words to tell you how I feel right now because I don't feel anything. And Indeed's not looking good. That's all I'll say. So there you go. There's your round of applause. That's what you wanted. But, you know, I'm gonna bounce back up. I always do. Okay? If I manage to get the past 25, 30 jobs, I'll get another. Okay? It'll be okay. It's just, it might take a little bit longer. And I was kind of expecting a little 2-week, 3-week thing. It's okay though. It's okay. I'm just, the bank account's getting lower.
Gen Z, but y'all love that F word. Y'all love that F word, man. See, this is why y'all ain't got no jobs. Y'all probably cussing at your boss. This next clip is gonna tell you, why they, yeah. Listen to this next clip, man.
Who else has left a job that you're like not the happiest at because of like company changes, and then like 3-4 months later you're like, damn, I probably should have not left and waited it out a little bit. I'm definitely feeling that. I have like a post pinned about it. I left my company at the end of February. I thought it was going to be my forever job. And over the last 6 months that I was there was a lot of changes that made me like really unhappy. And I had just moved into a different role within those 6 months. So I didn't feel like I could like move to a different position. And I was wanting to work part-time. I would have stayed there if they would have had part-time, but they didn't have part-time. So I left. And I left before we went on our trip to California. And when we went on our trip back home to California, we left there like 10 years ago. We were both like, we want to move back. My job was fully remote. We had people that worked in California. And now I need to work full time again to get back to California in 2 years. My husband's gonna be able to get his promotion at his job, and him having a promotion and me working full time, we will be able to afford like after school childcare for my oldest son. And it's just like, I don't know if I need to go and kind of be like, hey, can I get my job back? It's just, I tried to do the waiting tables thing and for just like fun, extra money. And for me, I really just like getting that big chunk of money every 2 weeks. Like, yeah, getting the cash every day is whatever. But I just honestly, I like sitting on my butt. I like sitting on my butt, beep, boop, typing, clicking, answering the phone, sitting in my home. I like doing that instead of running around 15, 20 hours a week, if I'm just being honest. But man, I'm having a lot of regrets about leaving my job. I was unhappy for quite a few months, but I just feel like I could have stuck it out for 3 to 4 and just changed my position. But I didn't know we were gonna want to move back home to California from Texas. I just didn't know certain things were gonna happen a month and a half later. Isn't that just how life goes, though? That's just how life goes.
On Monday, I announced that I quit my toxic job and that I was going to live my life. I was granted with that opportunity and I'm taking it. However, by 12 o'clock, I got calls for interviews. I had 2 interviews on Monday and I had an interview yesterday. And I went to them. Now, my problem is I feel like I'm going through withdrawals. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know if it's buyer's remorse. I don't know if it's that I feel that I need to work. I've worked for so long that I feel like I absolutely have to work. I love being able to do whatever I want. I went to the gym today. I got dressed and I went to the gym. I didn't record it. I will start recording that stuff. But I get to walk Forrest. Come here, Forrest. I get to walk my baby like all the time. Lilo's up over there hiding somewhere, but I get to be home with them. I get to do literally whatever I want. I can do quite literally whatever I want, but I have this feeling that I need to work. I don't know what it is. I feel like I absolutely have to. And am I the only one that has felt like this after quitting their job? Like, I know it was good for me. I know it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders, but at the same time, I feel like I'm putting like a burden on my husband, like putting my car payment and whatever, even though he's okay with doing it. But it's like, I feel like I'm adding to the plate instead of taking off of the plate. So I don't know. I have like buyer's remorse. I don't know. I don't know. I have to make this work. I need to make this work, like being a full-time content creator. And stop thinking about what I'm not doing. I don't know. It must be a mental thing because I've worked for so long. But yeah, I feel like I have to get up, get dressed, and go to work. And that's it. Which is unfortunate because there's more to life than that. But that is how I'm feeling. Let's see if I can make this work. I have to make it work.
Real quick, y'all see that dog in the back? That dog making you regret putting that toy down there, okay? He turned that motherfucking thing up. Cause I get you regretting that though. I get it, I understand. Sometimes you gotta hold on, just hold on. Look at this next clip though.
I thought by quitting my 9 to 5, I would finally feel free, but nobody told me that was just the easy part. This is 26 things I wish I knew before. Episode 4, show up exactly as you are. So I quit my job. I figured I'd take off running, making money moves, seeing places I've never been, but instead I've been waking up at noon, wondering why did I even do this to myself? To not know what my future looks like, to not have a steady income, these things scared the living shit out of me. But here's what I've come to realize. I think I'm just afraid to let go of what has always made me feel secure. A guaranteed paycheck, validation from my friends and family, and the approval of my girlfriend's parents. I had it all and I threw it out the window all because I realized I wanted something more. And so my plan to overcome this downswing is to start showing up exactly as I am. I'm a 26-year-old who still has questions, still has worries, but has a drive to figure it out. Because I need to embrace my decision, not regret it. And it's a weird feeling for me to admit that the ship has already sailed, but I can't just call up my boss and be like, hey, by the way, can I have my job back? Like and follow if this video helped you, and as I always say, I just really wish I had known this before.
I quit an almost 6-figure career and job in corporate because I was burned out to become a barista for minimum wage, and I really regret it. And I think the internet was right. And I think in the spirit of honesty and transparency, I wanted to share with you guys a list of things I missed the most about corporate, so that if you're thinking about it based on my decision, you can maybe rethink it or just have your own opinion about it. So one, I really miss that the tone of corporate is passive aggressive all the time. I really miss specifically the Teams message ping sound that would make my eye twitch eventually. I especially miss when somebody would just message you, hey, and now you have to have a full-on conversation just for them to tell you to do something. I miss that things take about 3 times as long as you actually think they'll take. Oh, you think sending an email is a 10 to 15 minute thing? No, because first you have to do the email, then send the draft to your boss. Then your boss will tell you to change a non-issue thing, like changing the to an it. And then you go back and forth for like 10-15 minutes with them, and then maybe you can send the email. Are there things I miss about corporate? Absolutely. I miss the money. I actually do miss the professionalism, whatever. And if you want a real list, I will share it. I will share good things about corporate because there are good things, but not enough to make me regret leaving. I'm actually very happy with my decision. This is the happiest I've been in my life, and I can't recommend it enough, actually. Do I recommend that you plan for it? Absolutely. And if you want a video on everything that I did to plan up to this, I will absolutely give it. I might have taken a risk, but at the end of the day, I don't call myself your professional older sister for nothing. Hi, I'm Brownie. I planned for this. Even when I was in the depths of despair, laying in bed comatose from burnout, I said, wait, I need to make this amount of money before I can quit, and then I can quit. And then I made that amount of money, I saved it up, and then I quit. And now look at me. I'm in New York being a barista, and I can do whatever I want because I saved up an emergency fund and I planned this move. Am I stressed out about money? Of course, everybody's stressed out about money. But I'd rather take the stress of money than the stress of wanting to off myself. Me personally. But as always, I'm Brownie, your professional older sister, and I'm making all of the mistakes so that hopefully you don't have to. If you want to follow along and see my journey from corporate to finding a career that I love and a way to make money, because yes, money is important and I do want to make money. I also just want to stay alive too and not be somewhere miserable the rest of my days. Follow along and I will show you everything that I do from this moment on to go from corporate to maybe corporate again, just in a career I like, or maybe my own business, or maybe social media. Who knows? I'm 24 and I want to experiment a little. Sue me. Anyways, follow along for more. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Almost 6 figures. In this economy, you better hold on to every figure you got.
Story time about my 2-week sabbatical that I accidentally ended up with. So I recently I recently left my old job. I was a hostess at a restaurant on the beach, and I worked there for about 2 years. I kept running into issues with like scheduling. My hours kept getting cut every time that they hired someone else. I'm one of their leads there, so there's only so many of us that can do what I do, but my hours still kept getting cut, and it was honestly just really frustrating because I had brought it up to them a couple of times, and every time that I did, management was always like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, like I didn't even realize, but then nothing ever changed. So I started putting in for different jobs. 1, because the hours kept dropping. 2, because I was driving anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to work every day, depending on traffic, day of the week, time of day. And so I started looking around different places. I did a couple of restaurants and a couple of just little stores here and there, just to try to see if maybe I wanted to get out of the restaurant industry. And I found a restaurant that was newer, and they were hiring. So it was about 10 minutes from my house, and so I went in, filled out an application with them, got a call later that day from the general manager asking me to come in for an in-person interview. Went in a day or 2 later for that and spoke to him, kind of just, did your normal interview stuff, what experience do you have, where are you coming from, what are you looking for, do you work as a team, the normal script that they read. So I told him where I was coming from, which is more of a fine dining establishment for our area. And I told him, I'd been using Open Table for 2 years. I'm one of their leads as far as Open Table goes, where I'm at. And he was like, yeah, they're a newer restaurant. So he was like, yeah, we're still new, still trying to work out the kinks. We could really use some help. And I feel like if we brought you on, that it would really help with efficiency and I guess just kind of setting certain procedures into play. So I was like, yeah, not a problem. We got to the pay part and I was like, pay was an issue. He said that he'd speak to the owner and he would give me a call back by the end of the week. That weekend was Easter, so I didn't really expect a call on Easter Sunday. But I
I was just like, okay, went on about my day. I hadn't put in my 2 weeks yet, so I just kind of went about my day to see if I'd, hear back from him. Finally called me back like 5 days later and was like, hey, I was able to get your pay up to what you wanted it at. When can you start? So I put in my 2 weeks at my old job and went over to the new place literally like the next day. So like, I want to say it was like my last day at my old job, and then literally like that next day, which was a Monday, I started. So I worked a Monday night, which for most restaurants is typically slow. So I kind of got a feel for, how the hosts there train, what the hosts are supposed to do, kind of how they handle things. Now, keep in mind, part of the reason that I was hired was to quite literally watch how everything is happening and then basically give a report on what's happening and what needs to change, what can be fixed to make the restaurant more efficient. I worked the first shift and slowly started to realize that the job description that I was given was incredibly inaccurate. So whenever you're going in for a job as a hostess, you're expecting the normal hostess duties. Seat the tables. I guess I should specify this by saying most hostesses in a fine dining establishment, I should say, only do the work of a host. Now, you seat the tables, you work the restaurant, you check on the tables through whatever system that you're using to ensure, that whomever is up at the front knows what's happening within the restaurant as people are, walking in, stuff like that. Another part of the hostess responsibilities that you would, kind of just assume is you seat someone at a 4 top and there's only 2, you take away the extra place settings and you put them in, whatever designated area you have for them. The normal host stuff. Most hostesses, not to be stereotypical, are women. So you check on the women's bathroom and make sure that the women's bathroom has, paper towels and soap and toilet paper and, all the normal things of a hostess. No. So a hostess for this restaurant was also a busser and a food runner. Now, when we interviewed, he said, of course, when we get slow, we help out, help the servers, clean off their tables, help the servers run some food, if we're super, super busy. Again, normal restaurant things to expect. If you're standing around and it's slow and there's a boatload of food that needs to be ran, by all means, go help, run some food. That was not the case. The hostesses there were fully responsible for bussing every single table in the restaurant, and it's a decent sized restaurant, as well as running pretty much most of the food because they only sometimes will have someone designated for food running, but 90% of the time it's the hostesses. And on top of that, we have to keep track of both bathrooms, not just the women's and the men's bathroom. We have to roll all the silverware, fold all of the napkins. We have to do all of the linens. We have to do, it was just a laundry list of things that just kept piling on. And the more that this list got longer, the more it kind of kept sitting into my head oh my God, y'all are doing the most for $10 an hour. Granted, they're a bunch of high school kids. They don't really care. A job is a job, I guess. But I don't know. I guess from where I was working, this was a gigantic slap in the face. So I really tried to bear with it, and I made sure that I really gave it a fighting chance. I worked the first shift, was very much annoyed at the way that things just the laundry list of things kept getting longer, and the mere fact that they didn't train me. Granted, yes, I understand I came with experience. It shouldn't take much training, and it didn't. I mean, I caught on to it mostly because I realized that they weren't going to train me, which is also an issue. But I waited it out the first day, worked the shift, went home, and I was just this job is going to suck the life out of me. But I gave it, I wanted to give it a fair chance. So I decided to go back the second day, kind of have, a fresh mindset on things, and I'm running out of time. Come back for part 2.
So yeah, man, don't be quitting y'all jobs without no plan. Y'all be regretting this stuff. Y'all just jump the gun. Boom, quit. Now your life is not legit. And you looking like, why did I do it? Now you ain't got nothing. Now you're struggling. Now you want to eat a muffin, but you can't get nothing. You got a nothing muffin. Yeah, because you thought you was going to quit. Your boss was like, I'm going to quit. You told your boss like, I'm going to quit, but you're bluffing. I messed up. But guess what, man? Quitting the job is one thing, man. That's one thing, to just quit and just up and leave. A lot of people are up and leaving where they are living at, and they're going where? You guessed it, off the grid. And that could be a nightmare. If y'all want to see how it could be a nightmare, click right there. Oh, it's been Josh from Talk to Your Boy, and I just talked to your boy. I'm gone.